Good afternoon, one and all, and warm welcome. Director General of Taxpayer Services, CBIC, DGTS CBIC Bengaluru Zonal Unit has always been in the forefront in taking the important policy framework of the Government of India, Ministry of Finance, directly to the taxpayer doorsteps. Today also, we are conducting a webinar for the benefit of the taxpayers. The Director General of Taxpayer Services Bengaluru Zonal Unit, in association with Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, Kerala State Council, Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industry, CCC and I, Kerala, Kerala Merchants Chambers of Commerce, KMCC, Kerala, Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association, KSCAA, Karnataka, Canara Chamber of Commerce and Industry, KCCI, Mangaluru, Tumkuru District Chamber of Commerce and Industry, TDCCI, Tumkuru, invites you all to this webinar on the topic Audit Compliance under GST and Overview. For the presentation of the program, we have with us highly talented faculty, and also make the question and answer session more effective. We have senior and experienced officer of CGST Audit Commissioner. Before we start the program, I have some important announcement. Microphones of all the participants are muted to avoid in-between disturbances during webinar. At the end of the program, we have a question and answer session, which will be attended by our expert panelists. So I request all the audience to upload their queries in the chat box, which is open now, and the same will be noted and passed on to the expert panelists. The questions will be confined only to today's topic. Questions other than today's topic will not be entertained. I repeat, the questions should be confined only to today's topic. Further, in case of any queries, clarifications, taxpayers are requested to contact our GST Seva Kendra officers in the numbers for the Karnataka 080-2286-6812, 080-2286-4105, for Kerala 0484-2394-105. Now, for the welcome address, we have with us Sri R. Manogar IRS, the Additional Director General, DGTS Bengaluru Zonal Unit. Now I request Sri R. Manogar sir to welcome the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Yes, Abhinay sir. Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all. Respected Principal Chief Commissioner of CGST Bengaluru Zone, Shri Rupam Kapoor. Respected Chief Commissioner of CGST and Customs, Thiruvananthapuram Zone, Shri Manoj Kumar Arora, Shri A. Gopalakrishnan, Chairman, Finance Committee, FICCI, Kerala State Council, Shri Prakash Iyer, Managing Committee Member, CCC and I, Kerala, Shri Krishna Kumar, Taxation Secretary, KNCC, Kerala, Shri T.J. Girish, President, TDCCI, Tumkuru, Shri C.A. Anantesh Prabhu, President, KCCI, Mangaluru, Shri Subramania BL, Chairman, Indirect Tax Committee, KCCA, Karnataka. Our speaker, Shri B. Venkateshwaran, retired Assistant Commissioner. Expert panelist, Shri Sabhabati N. Hegde, Assistant Commissioner, Audit 1 Commissionerate, Bengaluru. Dear taxpayers, my dear colleagues, and all the participants, I stand privileged and honored to extend a warm welcome to this webinar. I profoundly appreciate the unconditional support and cooperation extended by Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kerala, Kerala Merchants Chamber of Commerce, Kerala, Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association, Karnataka, Canara Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mangaluru, Tumkuru District Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tumkuru, in materializing this webinar. As you all aware, the Directorate General of Taxpayer Services has been set up with a mandate to reach out to the taxpayers to create awareness about various provisions of GST and customs law and procedure and also clarify the doubts. The DGTS has headquarters at New Delhi with 6 zonal units. The Bengaluru Zonal Unit caters to the needs of Karnataka and Kerala. Several need-based webinars have been conducted in the past after taking inputs from various trade associations. Today's webinar is also one such. The session will delve on the GST audit. Moment the word audit is spelled out, the fear creeps into the minds of the taxpayers, or at least it disturbs their mind. Not only that, taxation department, every department has their own system of audit to ensure that prescribed procedures are followed meticulously, thereby mandate of the organization is met with. CBIC initially had an internal audit system, then switched over to advanced system of audit, taking cue from the Canadian system of audit. After implementation of the GST audit system has been further refined, the current system of GST audit is well structured, scientific, transparent, efficient, and trade friendly because units are selected for audit based on the analytical revenue risk parameters. The Directorate General of Audit, in association with the DGRM, has identified 34 revenue risk parameters for identifying the units for audit in a particular financial year. At this juncture, I would like to bring it to the notice of the participants that the DG audit conducts annual quality assurance review of the audit commissionates. So the trade can be rest assured that the quality of the audit conducted on you is of high standards. I wanted to stress upon a point that audit is not a false finding mission. It is a mission to guide and facilitate you to enhance tax compliance so that you can harness your time, money, and energy in improving your business. In a short while, a detailed presentation about the salient features of the GST audit will be made by Shri B. Venkateshwaran, Assistant Commissioner retired. He's a fabulous trainer, has a rich and wide knowledge on the topic. I am sure that after this session, the misconception, fear, and apprehension about the GST audit will be allayed to a larger extent. I request all the participants to make best use of this session. With these words, I once again welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you. Over to you, Ebenezer.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome. We also have with us Sri Manoj Kumar Arora, IRS, Chief Commissioner of CGST and Customs, Thiruvananthapuram Zone. I request sir to kindly address the gathering with a special address. Over to you, sir.
My esteemed colleague, Principal Chief Commissioner, GST Bangalore, my colleagues from Directorate General of Taxpayer Services, worthy members and representatives of the trade and commerce chambers, dear taxpayers. I'm happy that I'm once again with all of you in this special interaction organized by Directorate General of Taxpayer Services. Today's topic is special for a couple of reasons, which I'll just quickly give a broad overview, so that we can then participate in the session and understand the nuances much better. First of all, audit as prescribed by GST, although is an intrusive and intense process, but it is not adversarial. This is something which I think captures the entire philosophy around which the audit system and audit mechanisms have been designed. Intrusive, intense, but not adversarial. So audit is an exercise where we collaborate with the taxpayers so that the compliance principles are understood better, the errors and mistakes which may have crept in knowingly or unknowingly in the compliance mechanism get remedied, cured, and whatever are the legitimate dues of the government are squared off. Because this process is intrusive and intense, there are a number of safeguards which are available. The primary being that the taxpayer always is given the opportunity to pay up and square off the dues there and then. A lot of care and precautions have been taken in designing the audit protocol, which now has almost more than 2 decades of experience that we have in running this protocol successfully. It started in the central excise days and it has successfully been implemented in the GST system also. To an average taxpayer, audit may sound very onerous and scary, or the fact that we have a risk parameter and assessment system may sound again a little scary, but I can on behalf of the department assure that these are things which we have taken up for our convenience, so that we are able to target only to those taxpayers who may have certain shortcomings in their compliances. The spirit with which the audit teams reach out to the individual taxpayers is again very collaborative, and it's a joint exercise. From our side, the interest is only to ensure that the compliance rates improve, the compliance systems improve, and the legitimate dues are squared off. But from the perspective of the taxpayer, it is a very useful exercise when it comes to improving their own tax compliances. There are no adverse actions which happen in the audit process, but the value addition that takes place in terms of detection of compliance errors and improvement of compliance systems as such can be extremely useful to the taxpayer. With these words, I once again thank Directorate General of Taxpayer Services and request and encourage all members of the trade association and the taxpayers to learn from what is going to transpire in the session, so that not only your fears are allayed, but you also start discovering the value in the audit process. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Now to inaugurate this webinar program, we have Sri Rupam Kapoor IRS, Principal Chief Commissioner of CGST, Bengaluru Zone. I request sir to kindly address the gathering with the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Abnazar. Thank you, Manohar, for inviting me. To my colleague, Shri Arora from Kochi Zone, to all the participants who are attending today's program being organized by DGTS. Yellarigu Nanna from me from Daman. Namaskar, Kalu. I have the privilege of to attend the second program by organized by DGTS at online program, and I am really impressed and enthusiastic by the number of participants who attend these programs, which are being organized online by DGTS. At my count, at the moment, 466 people are attending this program. Fantastic, in fact. Thank you very much, everybody, for being so so enthusiastic about our interaction with the department per se. I'll just, I think my colleagues have already stated most of the objectives about this program. I'll just like to add a couple of things, being slightly senior than both of them. I was surprised when I heard that taxpayers fear the audit. In fact, my experience has been otherwise. when we had been posted in the earlier part of our careers as commissioners, the taxpayers used to welcome the audit teams more so, particularly among the large corporates who had been doing business for a longer period of time, or even the assessees who are planning to do, or the taxpayers who are planning to continue the business for a long time. Audit is not just a verification of their accounts, but a validation of their business practices also per se. One audit can possibly, one good audit can possibly validate your business processes for the whole decade, because we don't audit. The department does not come for audit very, very often. And there may be, not because just of a lack of knowledge, but even inadvertently, some issues may be there in your accounts as well, which you may not be aware of, which department digs. And that is something which all the taxpayers over the years whom I have interacted with have said your audit teams really validate our business processes rather than just taking out faults. So I would in fact request all the participants, now 484, would to really look at audit not just as an element of a fault finding process by the department in your business practices, but more so as a cooperative effort by both of us to really check out whether the tax payments and maybe your accounting systems are in line with what is expected of international practices as well. I would add a couple of things, a very short one on this thing, on the maybe I don't say it, and it happens. I have seen when I was reviewing my audit commissionerate, at times the information which is asked from the taxpayer is excessive, and there is no doubt about that particular fact that in certain cases it does happen. We have been trying to train our audit officers that when you prepare your desk review, you should ask only for the relevant information which is there. You just we should not just ask you give this and this thing. In fact, there is a pro forma which is prescribed by our DG audit, which is to be looked into by all the joint commissioners who are approving the desk review plan of the audit, and that is where we hope that our senior officers really have a look and what exactly is the audit plan, and excessive information is not called for. The second issue which is there is the timing of the audit. Sometimes I have come across cases when I was holding the audit commissionerate in Calcutta, where the taxpayer says that this is not a convenient time for us to get audited. Yes, at times it may be absolutely urgent for the taxpayer to attend to other things. My request would be that do seek time. The department should not have any problem with taxpayers seeking to reschedule their audit program, but maybe if once it's fine, twice becomes a little bit problematic for the scheduling of the audit program for the audit officers as well. So the two issues which is there, we are on the, as I said, the first one about the excessive information and the second one about the rescheduling of audit, which may lead to certain inconveniences at times. I just have two things to say. One is that we are training our officers, just like we seek to bring the taxpayers and update their knowledge base through DGTS programs. We have our internal now, and particularly in Karnataka zone, we are ensuring that all audit officers, new audit officers who join the audit commissionerates, will be trained before they come in and join audit commissionerate. Second, rescheduling, please limit it to once. I am always there. My email address, my phone, everything is available with everybody. And I would welcome feedback from all the participants today. I will welcome feedbacks in difficulties. I'll only request one thing, as I said in the beginning, it's cooperative audit of account, not for this thing. I don't think there is any reason for fear in the case of audit. Thank you, DGTS, for organizing this program. I hope we are able to allay the fears, if any, or remove the doubts, if any, which is there in the mind of the taxpayers. On my side, please do keep in touch. Some of us, we keep on getting together once in a while. Let's make it more often. I was on tour to Daman, but then this was such an important program, which has been organized by DGTS, that I said, if it's online, I will certainly join and take some time off from here as well. Thank you once again, and have a very, very productive session today. Thanks once.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your presence.
Thank you so much, sir. The role played by the trade and industry in the nation's growth has always been commendable. In today's program, as I have already mentioned, there are a number of dignitaries representing the trade bodies, and it is our privilege to hear from them. We have with us Sri A. Gopalakrishnan, Chairman, Finance Committee, FICCI Kerala State Council. I request Sri Gopalakrishnan to address the gathering. Sir, over to you, sir. Sir, your audio is not coming, sir.
Honorable Principal Chief Commissioner of DGST, Sri Rupam Kapoorji, IAS, Bangalore. Honorable Sri Manoj Kumar Aroraji, Chief Commissioner of CGST and Customs Trivandrum, other erudite panelists. I am representing Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kerala region, and the Chairman of the Finance Committee and Taxation. At the outset, I congratulate and I profusely thank the CGST department to take this initiative to organize a seminar of this nature. I'm coming from the audit profession. I'm a chartered accountant in practice for more than 46 years. So I totally agree that audit process is definitely the validation of the business processes, practices, systems that being followed by the business entity. And after every audit, every auditee really enriches his knowledge. It is a learning process. And I have no doubt that we have also seen the experience of appearing before the esteemed officers of the department, furnishing details, and I could see a visible positive change in the attitude and approach of the tax authorities towards the taxpayers in the last about 10 to 12 years. Particularly after the introduction of the CGST and GST, state level GST, we find this transformation, this change in the state authorities as well as the central government authorities. Having said like that, I would like to convey that with the introduction of the CGST and year by year, month by month, week by week, we see increased compliances from the taxpayers, and the tax collection towards the GST has gone up more than 1.7 lakhs crores of rupees maybe in the month of December, which shows the compliance attitude of the taxpayers. My only respectful submission to the esteemed Principal Commissioner, Chief Commissioner and Principal Commissioner is that as a person who really interacts with the trade and industry on a regular basis as the member of the Federal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the notice that now we are getting from the department is from 2017-18 to 21-22, about 5 years. And if you look at the notices, the 21 types of information starting from the ledger purchase account, sales account, purchase return, stock register, creditors, that the inventory register, bank reconciliation, bank statement, cash book. I can say entire books of account together with the subsidiary schedules have been asked for about 6 to 7 years, 5 years. That be a short time of rather, let us say 1 month. And also it adds to the worry that the accountant who are handling the accounts of that era would have left also, new set of people have come. 17, 18, 18, 19, we were in the rudimentary stage of, so people were not that much conversant. Since our respected Chief Principal Commissioner has already highlighted the fact of excessive information and the short time that being granted, as a person belonging to CA profession who is even now handling more than several types of audits, maybe I suggest that maybe the audit may initially be taken up for 1 year, As a practical measure, I'm sharing with you, if you can take up the latest assessment year 21-22, and maybe the most important thing regarding the GST determination, maybe the outward supply, inward supply, RCM, and the related one, then on that, if there is about 5 or 6 vital components which is forming part of the our GSTR 9, GSTR 2, 2A, 3B, etc., and on the basis of that we can go further, it will ensure compliance of more number of audits. And if you see that 1 year, as rightly said, one audit will give us a lot of comfort, a lot of learning. You will be able to make out the compliance level of an assessee from looking at the accounts for, let us say, 21-22, the latest year, or even 22-23. So that on that basis, previous year figures can be taken up, and the mistakes that you come across in 22, 23, 21, 22 will give us the real state of compliance, rather than relying on 17, 18, and 18, 19, where so many mistakes are bound to happen. It may take a lot of time of the assessing authorities, as well as the officers, as well as the assessees. So my respectful submission to the August body, particularly to the chief commissioners and the principal commissioner, is that as a try, because I myself have seen notices for at least 5-6 people, 22 items, practically entire books of accounts, and the printouts of that. Even if I am giving a short copy in Excel workbook or Tally, it will run into at least 20 to 30 GB. And officers also cannot make anything out of that. And our officers may not be having the time and the wisdom and the expertise also to go through that. So once again, I repeat, I summarize in 1 minute. One assessment year, maybe latest 22, 23, or 21, 22 may be taken, and all those reports which are relevant for the determination and computation of the output tax liability, input tax credit eligibility, other related issues can be taken up. Then going further up, it will be able to comply by the assessees, as well as by the department offices also may find it easy, rather than an excessive, a long list of 22, 23 items. This is my respectful submission, and on behalf of the trade and representing chamber, as well as representing my own profession, I would like to assure that there will be absolute cooperation. And because I also say after a tax audit or a company audit, we also do the audit of public sector undertaking and all that. Yeah, after the audit, we meet the audit committee, we make a presentation. They also express happiness in the way that we are suggesting for improvement. So we are eagerly waiting for the valuable suggestions and input from the learned auditors or the department to guide the trade properly, so that there will be more collection, more compliances, and more peace of mind and more prosperity, so that we can build a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your suggestion well noted. We have with us Sri Prakash Iyer, Managing Committee Member, CCC and I, Kerala. I request Sri Prakash Iyer to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, sir, and Happy New Year. We had about 30 days back, on 19th of December, we had the first session, the webinar on faceless assessment and the latest updates. So this is the second one, wherein like now we have partners like Vicky, my colleagues from Kerala and Bangalore, and officers from DGTS, Mr. Ebenezer and Mr. Shastri, who are in regular touch with me, and greetings from Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, if you look into GST, after which happened during 1st of July 2017, after that there are a lot of changes happened in the taxation formalities. So it helped the trade and industry a lot to make it more easy for submission of taxes or remitting taxes and everything, because there is a single way of IGST and SGST. Now even the tax structure also 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%, which become easier to understand. So I congratulate the government and the DGTS and Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs for the initiative to make it happen. But as a shipping person, shipping professional or a shipping agent, what I find is after shifting to GST, the check post, the holding the container, cargo, everything at the check post has come down very drastically. Even there is no holding at all, because the trucks were blocking the entire highways, where the containers or the cargo reaches very late, and there were many issues in the export and import trade, even the coastal trade also. So that all has been eradicated. I understand that some of the states are still having the checkpost now. The checkpost system has gone out, which helped us a lot. Even in the inaugural session, Mr. Rubam Kapoor, was saying about why to have fear. Even I agree with him, because if we are honest and sincere, and when any audit comes to our office, what we find is that it is streamlining. It helps us to streamline the process, correct wherever we have to correct. So it actually, we appreciate the efforts and the initiatives taken by the department. And that's all what I wanted to convey to my colleagues, my friends in trade and industry. And I also heard that last time we had more than about 700, 750 registered participants attending the program. Today we have the Kerala Management Association annual conference, which is happening at Cochin. And that is why many of them may be attending that program. Even I also had to rush from there, and again I'll be going back to attend that by 4 o'clock. So I congratulate every one of you, and who are the participants also, on behalf of Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you very much. This is what I want to convey. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have with us Sri Krishna Kumar TG, Taxation Secretary, KMCC Kochi, Kerala. Now I request Sri Krishna Kumar to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, sir. I am audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year to all. Namaskarams to all.
Happy New
I
Year.
am KG Krishna Kumar, representing Kerala Merchants Chamber of Commerce. Today's webinar topic: Audit Compliances under GST by the DGTS. Our thanks for all for inviting KMCC as guest speaker, especially Ebenezer sir and Satri sir, who are regularly calling us for, conducting this webinar. Very good. Now the attendance of nearly 520 has come. It's a very good achievement, and it's a credit goes to Ebenezer and Satri sir. The awareness on this trust experienced subject. Actually, this auditing is a trust experienced subject. It's highly required to every segment of the GST registered tax dealers. There is one saying: do not hide or give false information to a lawyer or doctor. But we have to add auditors also. Our GST registration is directly connected to the bank, income tax department, financial institutions, and wherever PAN is used and KYC is linked. So one person is seeing at the top. We used to say that God is seeing everything, but in our trade communities, it's all seen by the GST peoples. So we cannot escape from that. Once the audit notice or intimations are received, the traders are under stress, and it shoots up their pressure and do not know what is to be done. The audit is to be ensured that the taxpayers are complying with GST laws and regulations, and to identify any areas where there is a risk of tax evasion. Today's meeting, and at this platform, our KMCC humble request through the higher officials here to take this as a trader's request not to initiate any audits for the first 3 years, since it was an introduction period where both the GST officials, GST departments, and traders are all on learning stage. One of the senior advocate in Kerala High Court on GST matters and an advisor to our association has expressed his view that the court is getting equal number of cases on GST assessment orders and notices served mechanically by the department in recent times. Auditing work should not be a mere tabulating work, comparing the computer generated reports and acts on the dealer's head. Now the last speaker, Gopalakrishnan sir, said, had expressed all the difficulties faced by the traders. He had already expressed. The GSTN had completed their software developed for scrutinizing the returns, checking the IPT and OPT, comparing 2A, 2B, 3B, etc. in a year back. The delay is not on our side, it is delay is by the department side. All such delay developed and actually such delay development, what is happening? It should be put into prosperity effect. What are the things they are developing? It should be put in prospective effect, not retrospectively. But what has happened? They have developed the software and they have put everything in the from 2017 onwards. So that is not fair. If any defect is found in from older years, the tax dues alone should be collected. It should not be equal amount of penalty, equal amount of interest should not be charged. The GST aim is to avoid cascading effects, cascading of taxes, but the disallowances of input tax credit merely on the late filing of returns and demanding to pay back the tax is a cascading of fines and penalties, which is happening in 2017-18, 18-19 returns now. Hence, audit notices for the year 2017-18 and 18-19, 19-20 should not be initiated. On behalf of all trade association, I once again request the officers present here to take up this to the GST Council. Hopefully, today's topic speaker, Mr. B. Venkateswaran IRS, will clear the taxpayers' doubts on the audit notices and how to face the audit without any stress. Our Kerala Merchants Chamber of Commerce, Ernakulam, will shoulder on all such meetings in the near future. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I request all the guest speakers, we can reduce the speech within 2 to 3 minutes. It will be useful for us to conduct our program in an effective manner. I request all the guest speakers. Now, thank you, sir. We also have with us Sri T.J. Girish, President, TDCCI, Tumkuru. I request Girish to address the gathering. Sir, over to you, sir.
Hello.
Over to you, sir. Sir, you are audible, sir.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, sir. You are audible. You are audible.
Sir, respected CGST officials from South India and respected trade and industry organizations from South India and all participants of webinar. Myself, T.J. Girish, President, Tumkur District Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tumkur, and our Vice President, T.T. Satnarayan, and our Taxation Committee Chairman, Ravi Shankar, and our past President, Sugnan Niramat, and T.R. Lokesh, and our Board of Directors are participated here. I will take only 3 minutes. I will tell about my chamber and 3 subjects of GST. I am happy to tell that our organization was inaugurated in the 2000 by Dr. C.C. Shivakumara Swamiji in the long vision founder of our founder president Sri C.L. Shivanna and our secretary Sugnan Hiramat, 23 years passed. When GST was implemented in 2017 by our organization, more than 2,000 people were migrated from VAT to GST, which was done in our organization, and also we have conducted about 100 GST awareness and updates programs till date in collaboration with SGST and CGST department and our parent organization FKCCI. Other than GST, we are income tax, labor department, weight and measures, DAC, pollution control board, and all the government departments awareness program has been conducted. Totally, overally, I would like to say our organization is working as a bridge between a government departments of the districts on behalf of all businessmen, enterprises, and citizens of Tumkur district. Coming to the point, I request to the GST Council, the taxation matters are not user friendly, leading to litigation and also threat of arrest. It hurts the taxpayers very badly. It is suggested to make a taxation matters user friendly, and the government has to consider the initial period of 2017-18 and 18-19 as an educational period to implement the strict provisions of the GST law as promised earlier during the introduction of the GST law in 2017. And the small and medium scale taxpayer tax compliance should be reduced. I request all the members to make use of this webinar about audit. Thank you, sir, giving me a 3 minutes time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We have with us C.A. Anandesh Prabhu, President, KCCI, Bengaluru. I will now request Anandesh Prabhu to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
You are audible, sir.
Yeah, a very good afternoon. distinguished speakers, guest speakers from other trade bodies, topic experts, and my dear participants. At the outset, I would like to thank the Director General of Taxpayer Services, the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, Bengaluru Zonal Unit, for organizing this event along with other eminent trade bodies. The topic of today's webinar is Audit Compliance under GST. I'm very happy that organizers of today's event have taken up the responsibility to conduct a webinar on such an important topic, and I thank them for the same. I'm very happy to see the excellent response. I think more than 500 plus participants have participated. Thank you on behalf of the Canada Chamber of Commerce and Industry for having me as one of the guest speakers. Since the implementation of GST, KCCI has been playing a vital role in educating the members about the various facets of GST. We have GST subcommittee, which is very active and keeps conducting seminars, workshops, and on a variety of topics related to GST with a view to educate our members. We have recently launched a KCCI YouTube channel too to educate our members on the various aspects of GST and such other topics. GST, as we know, has subsumed a number of existing indirect taxes and has made India a common national market with uniform tax rates and procedures, and thus helped removing the economic barriers and paving the way for an integrated economy. GST has also brought about buoyancy to the government revenue by widening the tax base and improving the taxpayer compliance. In the month of December, the GST collection stood at around 1.65 lakh crores. GST is a very vast subject covering various aspects. The audit and compliance is one such subject that needs to be discussed and educated. GST audit is necessary at times to maintain and check and examine whether correct GST is being paid and the refund claimed, especially for certain categories of taxpayers. Audit under GST is the process of examination of records, returns, and other documents maintained by a taxable person. The purpose is to verify the correctness of turnover declared, taxes paid, refund claimed, and input tax credit availed. Today, we have expert topic speakers and guests who will be taking us to the various provisions of this particular aspect. I'm sure all the participants will immensely benefit from the wealth of knowledge that the distinguished speakers have to offer. Thank you once again for having me here as a guest speaker, and look forward to such events in future too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now we come to the main part of the program, and we are honored and privileged to have with us Sri B. Venkateswaran IRS, Assistant Commissioner Retired. He has a depth of knowledge in all the subjects of GST. He has been kind enough to accept our request and readily agree to do the presentation. Now I request Sri Venkateswaran sir to start his presentation. Sir, over to you, sir.
You have to unmute, I believe.
Yes.
Sir?
Good evening, everybody. I am audible.
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Respected Chief Commissioner, Bengaluru Zone and Trivandrum Zone, and ADG, Direct Taxpayers Services, and officials of Directorate of Taxpayers, and secretaries and the presidents of the industries and commerce, and all participants. Definitely, I am very happy. And also, as said by Commissioner, the Chief Commissioner, there are a lot of participants today. We are having around 548. So this shows how our people are very much interested in knowing the knowledge about this particular subject on audit. The DGTS has conducted for the past 1 year several important subjects on specified subjects on account of GST. They say it is GST on account of refunds, GST on account of RCM, and GST on account of the compliances required returns. Definitely, we can see each and every subject. But today's subject is nothing but the culmination of what we learned so far for the past 1 year. Otherwise, we can say also whatever the complete guidance required by the each and every compliance required under the GST law. So this is the webinar I wanted to take. So thank you very much for all the participants and these things. So let me share my views. 1 second, sir. I'm taking my.
Yes, sir.
Second. Open my file. Just check up whether my screen is correctly coming, sir. The first slide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So thank you very much. So I'm not taking much time on speaking. So I will let us go to the subject. So definitely today's subject is most important. Already our speakers have told this audit is painful, stressful, and we are asking so many documents. Definitely people find this very difficult to handle audit. But unfortunately, we have to understand that indirect taxation law expects that is the basis for each and every revenue. And here the scope for the supply that our taxable event also by and large increased. It's actually earlier we had only manufacturing sector and we are having a sales and we are having a services. Now you know very well. So all our economic activities are coming under the one umbrella under the indirect taxation, which is nothing but your GST. So definitely everybody will understand there is a large number of taxpayers are coming into the fold of GST, and definitely the exchequer is getting more amount, more taxation. And also by and large, we know very well the technology is taking a very forward step in implementation of this GST compliance. So definitely we are lagging behind. We have to understand because the technology and everything is moving very fast. So we have to also cope up with this, all these things. So we cannot blame that something that is stressful and painful, but definitely these pains are only initial stage of implementation of GST only. Now you know very well, earlier we have only one budget session every year. By the time we will be having only 5 budget sessions. But now you understand there are 52 budget sessions happened so far, which means each and every council meeting is nothing but a budget session. The views of the trade and industry earlier taken care of only during one budget. Now each and every time a council meets, then the views of the industry is taken care of and remedial action which is required is immediately taken. So that was the benefit of your GST. Definitely GST compliance is very difficult, very tough. It expects more knowledge on account of your taxation law, accounting, and also software and system side. So definitely we are moving forward. This is a new nascent taxation which requires your attention definitely. Until otherwise you give more attention, it may become a naughty boy. But it cannot become a naughty boy, it is only your hand. So let us see that this boy grows into a matured, very good person for the society. That is my wishes for this GST. So here this disclaimer as usual we say this is only for the purpose of educating the large number of participants and enabling others to go to read. Recently we conducted some sessions for the DGTS and immediately after session we received feedback from almost pan India. So they are very happy that this is a reach out of this particular seminars conducted by DGTS. Definitely reaches the entire length and breadth of the country. Today also it is almost most part of the Kerala and Tamil Nadu and as well as Karnataka, it is also reaching out. So here we say it's only for educational purpose. Please all your legal requirements, read GST Act, rules, circulars issued by the department, clarification issued by the department. This is only enabling to understand certain legal provisions, which is used as a guideline or guidelines for some of the persons at the lower level and also for some of the persons you may not be aware of certain informations. And this slide I have used the GST Act. So wherever it is a GST Act is being used, please understand it is also equally applicable for the state and UT GST. Don't say that it's only exclusive for the domain of central GST. It is also both state and central GST. So this is the disclaimer we are given. And today's topic, this particular part is very much important, is assessment in GST regime. That is the reason we are coming for the audit. So it is a self-assessment, then we can understand what is the self-assessment procedures required. Then compliance verification by the department, which are the wings of the department verify whether the self-assessment done by an assessee is correct or not. And one of the wing which is verifying the compliance is nothing but audit. So here today's our focus is on audit under the GST. We can say some of the legal provisions and procedural aspects and which are the areas under the scanner of your audit and what is expected by the taxpayer for a smooth, jerk-free audit process. And what is the areas under the findings of the adjudication? Are you accepting or you are also going to challenge? It is possible. So there we wanted to know whether how you are going to the culminating the audit that we are. Then the session is open for the question and answer. The speakers from the DG audit from Bangalore is joining as an expert panel. So these are the today's subjects. So let me move. The first time saying audit, definitely audit is not a detective work. It is a systematic and meticulous analysis of the data or information or documentation kept by an assessee or taxpayer to verify the correctness of the law. What is done by the system, what is expected by a system, in this case GST and GST system, and what is done by the taxpayer towards his requirement, fulfilling the objective of the taxation law. So here what we are saying, we are not having a detective. We are going to handshake with you. That audit department want to handshake with you. You also welcome the audit department so that it will be going to be definitely a learning experience so that you can set right whatever omissions you have done without aware of the legal procedures, because you are very well aware. Your business compulsion does not permit you to update each and every aspect of the legal provisions, but the officials working the department are expected to go through this each and everything. So they will be conversant with the certain laws. So they will be helping you in identifying certain areas you might be omitted, which may also incur your unnecessary loss of revenue. So that is the reason we all say auditor is not a bloodhound. He is a watchdog for your organization. He will be definitely help to improve your tax compliances and also improve your business and also reduce your litigation on account of taxation law. So that is the first and foremost thing I wanted to say about the audit. These are the words we used when I joined the department for the audit way back during 2000. That was the time where we implemented the year 2000 audit, borrowing the Canadian model. At the time, the official, our officer, Mr. Krishnan, he was a member earlier CBIC, who took the class, and he told only one thing: auditor is a watchdog. Please mind it. You are not a preventive officer. So wherever you find these things, discuss with the assessee whether his views are correct or my views are correct, because he may be doing the everyday business, he may be aware, and he is also getting the inputs from his association elsewhere. So anything and everything, it is not a detective working behind the screen. It is an open book. So audit is also intimating their visit, and they are also sitting with you. So he said audit is always a watchdog. So this is my mantra, and this is also I am taking it to my mind when I work in the department, and still my colleagues in the department are also following it. In fact, the audit manual emphasizes this elaborately. Self-assessment. So where we are starting, why this audit starts, where we are starting, what is the need for the audit? The reason being the self-assessment. I am not going to the many requirements, legal requirements. We say self-assessment is the buzzword being used by the taxation department for very many years. In fact, our central excise, we have embraced the particular self-assessment from way back from 1996 onwards. Earlier to that, we had a production-based, then record-based, and also fiscal control. All these things are removed after 1996, and we are nearly 25 years old in the assessment of self-assessment. So when there is a self-assessment, it is a continuous in the GST regime also. So it is nothing but permit the assessee to assess his liabilities based on the legal provisions available him in public domain. Then intimate to the department, I have done this assessment, sir. So definitely some evaluation system is required, whatever the system it may be. When you are studying for the schools or college, after certain years, you will be have to be evaluated whether you can move forward. Or you have to evaluate it in the self-appraisal whenever you are working in the organization. So the same thing happens in our department also, taxation department also, in particularly indirect taxation, which is the very basis for all other taxes. Why GST is getting more and more important, more and complex, and more and people are trying to evade or avoid. This is nothing but this is going to the mother of all taxes. So the income tax, you can say now income tax most relies the self-assessment, or we can say documentation taken under the GST regime. So self-assessment is most important scenario in the GST. There it is definitely required by the tax person, the taxable person. And definitely this requires whether the self-assessment done by the taxable person is correct or not. That is the first. So self-assessment is the basis for the initiation of action for the other compliance verification by the department. So in the areas of self-assessment, with the reference to GST, we are having a very many provisions. We are having a GST Act, we are having IGST Act, we are having a Compensation Cess Act, we are having equal number of state GST Act, and we are also having the rules and there. So definitely all these things are required by the assessee taxpayers to go through and understand what is his self-assessment is required for the payment of tax and receive the benefits wherever it is he is entitled. So here basically he is expected to know supply, then classification of goods and services to understand what is his rate of tax, or is exempted or not. Then we have to understand what is the value on which he has to pay the tax, because GST is nothing but your ad valorem basis, no specific rate. Then he is expected to know when he is paid like to pay the tax. That is called your time of supply. Then he has to say, you know very well GST is a destination base. So definitely knows whether the revenue has to go to the intrastate or interstate, or it is export or imports. So all are decided with the days of supply. Then his benefits. So everybody told cascading effect is avoided in the GST scenario fully, but with conditions. Though that is a condition we are saying allowing the department is allowing the input tax credit on account of goods and services which are used for the furtherance of your business. There is a benefit given, but when the benefit is given, there is a definitely strings attached, otherwise there are conditions to be fulfilled. So honorable courts also verified these aspects, whether these conditions are legally valid or not. And they also come to the conclusion, yes, certain conditions imposed are legally valid. And the same another benefit you are extended is the refund on account of nearly 11 types of refunds available in this scenario. The GST earlier it is a very few. Now if you know that there is a large number of refunds are possible. So when the refund is given, definitely there is unclosed elements are coming into that. They want to take away the money from the exchequer. So there is a very much need for the checking the refund. You are also entitled, and there is a refund means there is a tag attached or conditions attached. You know very well it is indirect taxes. The taxes are borne by the ultimate consumer, and as a taxable person you are collecting that amount and you are paying to the department. So there is a very many requirements under refund conditions to be fulfilled, everything. And again, zero rated supply. So when the taxes are domestic supply, you are liable to pay tax. Yes, when I am going for the zero rated supply, which is nothing but in normal nomenclature, we can call the export of goods or services, physical exports, or otherwise called exports to the some other, that is the supply to the export oriented units or special economic zones. They are also given, the government is giving the concessions, benefits and refund. So definitely as a person, as an organization, it is expected that all these benefits are reached to the correct person. Whether the person received has definitely followed the procedures required for his entitlement. So these are the self-assessment areas. I'm not going for some other litigation self-assessment. There are other that is assessment, that is area complaints required on account of the appeals and everything. I am not going here. It is only on payment of taxes and the benefits accrued on account of input tax, and the benefit accrued on account of your certain supplies, and benefit accrued on account of your refund. So there are many statutory provisions required by the taxpayers to be complied with, but definitely it is nothing but your entire book which you have to read. GST Act, GST rules, and whatever circulars so far issued and amendments made so far for the past 7 years. But suffice to say there are very few. If you understand what is your charging section, what is the scope of supply, that is supply, that is your charging section, otherwise taxable event in the GST scenario. If you understand the taxable scenario in the GST scenario, I am sure 90% of the problem is solved. In my experience for the past 7 years and also earlier, I find very many people still not able to understand or comprehend what is the chargeable event on account of the GST. That is why we found some of the window dressing done by at the end of the financial year also exposed in the GST era when audit was conducted or scrutiny was done or inspection was done. So the problem is here, it is not there. We are unable to still comprehend what is required. That is your charging section or your taxable event. It is not a chargeable section. We can rightly say it is the taxable event. We understand taxable event as a manufacturer sales and the income also customs. But unfortunately, when it comes to the GST, it is really is a very broad scope. So anything and everything, your economical activity comes under the purview of GST under the indirect taxation. So all other indirect taxations are now culminated or subsumed into the GST. So the very minimum requirement for the top level management to the lower level entry level accountant, he is expected to first know what is the taxable event. If you are very thorough with the taxable event, then other things are very easy to understand. So here it is section 7, section 9. These are the charging section or supply. Then other section I mentioned 13, 14, 16, all these things are value and the time of supply and place of supply, etc. And the 16 is nothing but your that is on account of your ITC credits. Then once you assess your tax, then there is a liability comes. Then how I am going to supply the goods? What is the basic documents? Basic document for assessment is nothing but your invoices, credit notes and debit notes. Here also I find some of the taxpayers are still having some confusions. Who has to issue debit note? Who has to issue credit note? Who has to upload these documents? Please, my dear friends, you have to say in the GST scenario, all these things on the heads of the supplier. So if you say you are going to upload invoices, it is uploaded by the supplier. If you are debit note, it is uploaded by the supplier for the additional amount he is expected to receive from you. It is a credit note means it is a supplier who is issuing that to reduce his liability and deposit on the reduce liability to you. This is very much important when I am assessing my basic document invoice. Then accounts and records. So definitely, okay, I am keeping all these minor or you can call it as a granular records, that is called invoices, debit notes and line items in each and every invoices. But I have to consolidate everything that I am going to keep it as a accounts and records. There are provisions, how many accounts I have created, which are the accounts I mandatorily maintain for my intimation to the government or verified by the departmental officer. Same is the case of input tax credit, and the self-assessment culminates intimating the returns and payment of the taxes due monthly basis, and for MSME sector it is a quarterly basis or annual basis. Then specific supply, which is governed under the rule called zero rated supply, where it is an export of goods and services, supply to SEZ or supply to the 100% UOU. These are some of the areas where we can say zero rated supply. It's only 4 categories: supply of services, goods, physical export, supply of goods and services to zero rate supply to the SEZ, special economical zones. So then we are going to get the refund. There is a benefit we are that we are going to follow the provisions available in section 54 read with 89 to 93. The rules prescribe elaborately what is the requirements or comply with what are the documentation required. All these things are available in the rule 89 to 93. Calculations required. All these things are required. Fine. Then we are going for reporting of the self-assessment. As I told, the culmination of self-assessment starts with filing of your returns. So I'm not going for each and every return. I'm saying just return, outward supply of return, which means you are assessing your tax liability and intimating, thereby you are achieving the 2 components. One is called your tax liability for every month, and you are saying how much credit I am going to pass it out to my supplier. These are the 2. That is the outward supply. It is reported in GSTR1. It is a GSTR1, which is basic. What is a basic document for reporting your GSTR1? It is nothing but your invoices. So definitely invoice plays a vital role, and your accounts second, then your returns. And there we are having one more thing written called your, once you consolidate that, then you are going to file your GSTR3B, It is nothing but summary report for on account of revealing your how much liability you are going to pay. That is one. Second is nothing but how much liability I am going to get the credit. That means you are going to intimate to the department what is my credit liability, what is the credit I am earned during this period. To facilitate you, the department has also provided one more return called your GSTR 2A earlier. Now it is a 2B, which means who are the persons has passed on your credit, the quantum of credit passed on to you, that is the given in the GSTR 2A. Then other things are OIDR or specialized persons. Then input service distributor is the person who is wanted to pass on the services received in a single location, but it is required for the multiple location. And the tax deducted source, whenever you are supplying goods through goods, the governmental agencies like state government, central government, or some of the boards of the governmental authorities or PSU, there the PSU or the government department expected to reduce or deduct certain amount at 1% and debit the credit that amount into your account as a cash ledger. So that is a very much benefit for you. So that is also one return which says how much you earn, how much you have recovered from the particular government agency. Then tax credit source, there are one more thing called your e-commerce operators. Now you know very well, by and large, many of the industries where consumer goods are now sold through, mostly through your B2C, that is your e-commerce operators, both services and goods. So that now there are services we told it has to be collected and paid by the e-commerce operator, or second thing we can say e-commerce operator himself has to pay the tax on behalf of the other suppliers who are using the e-commerce platform. So that this is the reporting of the self-assessment. Now compliance verification by the tax authorities. Definitely my picture will reveal. Now the tax monitoring is absolutely through electronic media, and there are multiple tools are used for data analysis, blockchain, that is a blockchain technology, then data analysis using very many other statistical tools available. And also we are having specified agencies in the Department of Finance to analyze this data and give these inputs to check, to share these inputs for the lawyer formation, for the necessary actions, or also for the investigation. So here now the monitoring is definitely, now somebody told in our these things, now whether anybody knows or not, GST department knows my activity. That is true, sir, that we are giving the department almost very many information required by the industry for the purpose of taxation and also for the purpose of developing, or we can deciding our monetary policy, fiscal policy, and also infrastructure development. All these things are very much vital for the public finance. So there is a compliance mechanism is required, and tax authorities are monitoring, and you are providing the all vital data for the economical growth of the country by and large. So monitoring tax compliance, definitely evaluate, that is verification means everybody tend to find is a difficulty. Evaluating my performance, I find slightly stressed, or I can say it is a painful even. But unfortunately, for any growth or any your progress, what is required is evaluating your performance or monitoring the compliance. Here it is nothing but monitoring the tax compliances with reference to GST Act and GST system we can call. So here the system want to verify the correctness of self-assessment on the part of the taxpayer on account of what is that? Ensuring the correctness of tax liability, claim of input tax credit, returns filed, payment of taxes by different agencies of the department based on the different skills required or different type of monitoring required by the department. So this is the monitoring of the tax compliances. There we are having the legal provisions. The legal provisions for monitoring tax compliances comes into chapter 12, assessment, and comes chapter 13, audit. And at the highest level, or it is the anti-evasion we can call that, the anti-evasion method we can call, that can be go also. That anti-evasion means anti-evasion wherever there is a tax liability is escaped intentionally, non-payment of tax intentionally, suppression of facts. So we are having by and large three type of monitoring mechanisms. One is called assessment, another is called audit, another is called your inspection, and these are the legal provisions permitting the department to perform the compliances through 3 different agencies of the department's name. So agencies for tax verification, I told it is audit, special audit, inspection, and scrutiny. So there are 4 agencies are available, and the special audit is only for the very rare occasions. All otherwise, scrutiny, it is done by the lowest level by the range officer or circle officer in the case of the state government, where the very minimum verification is happening at the lowest form. The cross verification of data reported, information provided in the various returns and various information available in this department, and they find any inconsistency in the reporting, then suitable action will be initiated under the scrutiny. We already done certain classes for the scrutiny. Now we are moving to audit. So the audit, if it is not done at the level of this, not possible to complete the compliances, then it can be handed over to the audit for the detailed examinations. And still, the system feels it can be done to a specialized person like chartered accountants or cost accountants. Then the department is at the liberty to hand it over the audit to the special agencies, those who are having a professional experience in conducting audit, financial audit and cost auditing. There we are having a special audit. And finally, we are having one more agency called inspection or anti-evasion or enforcement. That is to catch hold the tax evaders and tax avoiders deliberately. So this session is exclusively for the assessment. This is the assessment or verification only by the audit. The statutory provisions are GST Act, Section 65, Section 66, and Section 71. Because there is a doubt where I have to conduct the audit. The legal provision says where the location the audit has to be conducted. So there is a Section 71. It gives the permission to access the business premises for conducting the audit as well as for the conducting the inspection. And regarding the procedural aspect, Rule 101 categorically specify how the audit has to be conducted and how it has to be progressed and how it has to be culminated or the end. What is the natural end for the audit compliance, how it has to be completed. Then they also prescribed a certain level of forms also. They say it is how you have to issue the intimation, how the report has to be submitted, how the conduct a special audit, or how the findings has to be conducted by the team of the audit after the completion of the audit. So there are statutory requirements. So there can be a deviation on account of the forms as well as the procedurals for this. So I have taken a full Section 65 in order to understand the various queries you may be having, how the audit is coming to my premises, why I have to keep so many records, when this will be over. So all these things, the answer is available in Section 65. So what is the period of audit? It says such a period or frequency may be prescribed. That comes under the GST, your GST rules. At conduct, where I have to conduct, whether I can conduct at the place, which place I have to conduct, either it is a business place or in their offices, wherever it is possible to keep the records. The law expects that you have to keep all the records at the principal place of business as well as the additional place of business or the warehouse where you are storing the goods and transporting it to the destination. So definitely the audit may conduct, it may visit your place of business or additional place of business or your head office, or it may be your warehouse where you are keeping the goods. So all these things, places are required by the audit to conduct, to verify your compliance is correct or not. Then the audit do not want to contact, we have told the earlier screen also, it is not a detective agency. It is a fact finding mechanism only. So there will be definitely intimation will be given to the noticee, that is the responsibility of the officer, the responsibility of the department and the transparency of the department to the taxpayer. So they say the registered person is intimated by a note not less than 15 days. Then there cannot be a prolonged period for the completing audit. They say a complete within a period of 3 months. In exceptional situations, it may be extended by another 3 months by the commissioner. In most of the cases, unfortunately, now it is happening because 2019 we started the audit, if I am not wrong. But however, it is not progressed because of our COVID situations and subsequent issues. Now By and large, audit is conducting every year. So 2017-18 they completed, 18-19 completed, now 19-20 and 2021 audit is progressing in very many places across the country. Then finally, during the course, what is expected from the assessee? He has offered him necessary facility to verify the books of accounts or other documents, furnish such information as required, and render assistance for timely completion. So here the cooperation of the assessee is most expected for conducting the audit, so that you can very quickly have the smooth jerk-free audit. Also, it is a very smoothful audit if you want. Then you have to understand all these things are definitely specified in the act. It is not coming from some manual and everything. The law itself says this has to be done in this manner only. Then on conclusion, definitely the audit has to give within 30 days the information. What is the findings? Whether the findings are eligible, you may be nil, or it may not be some observations which may require attention. There is a revenue expectation also that all these things are definitely communicated, and also intimating his rights and obligation, which means you are given a scope for the reply and defending your correctness of your self-assessment. If there is a divergence view, then it is different, but it gives an opportunity for you to defend or say what is your requirement, whether I have done or not, why I have done, based on which legal provision, based on which circular of the department I have done this. Then finally, the culmination of what I told you, after the completion, if there is a no disagreement, there is a disagreement between this department and this, the audit does not force you to pay the amount, rather it gives one more opportunity. Yes, we can go for a legal settlement of this. We can take it to the legal course of action. That there are agencies available, adjudicating agencies available, first appellate authority available, then tribunal is available, then high court is available, then apex court is available to find out which is correct or not. So here we can understand from all these things, definitely audit is not stressful. It is, you may be failing that because of the pressure, because of your requirement of these things. But however, if you see by all these things, it is definitely a very smooth function. Then access to premises given under the section 71, they say who are the persons is authorized and what are the documents. Here they say that clearly the law says such records prepared and maintained by the registered person and declared. So definitely is required. Trial balance sheets, nothing but a culmination of your granular data in the books of accounts and the invoices. Then after that, you are going to make the statement of annual financial. Then you are duly audited by the auditor wherever it is required. Then cost audit required in some of the cost, paper industry, cement industry, sugar industry, it is required as per the Companies Act, that report. Then income tax audit report, that is also required by the auditor, you have to provide, and any other relevant documents maintained by you for the scrutiny by the officers or the audit party, which means you have to provide all these things for the audit for the verification of your tax compliances with reference to GST Act and rules made there and there. Then rule 101, it is nothing but I told it is a procedural. It says the procedure has to be given based on the one financial year or part thereof, depending upon the department decides. And it is also conducted in the manner which is also elaborately discussed. And wherever it is a registered person selected for audit, he will be given with a form intimation in ADT 01, and also he will be given ADT 02 after the audit findings. This is how they will do, verify the document based on which each and every area they wanted to do. So what is self-assessment and audit? It is nothing but a balancing activity. So when you do a self-assessment, you are doing that. Whether your self-assessment is correct, that is a balancing is correct or not is verified by your audit. So we can say self-assessment audit is nothing but the balancing the pros and cons of your assessment. If it is correct, the mechanism will be balanced. If it is wrong, then definitely your liability. And somebody told audit is asking too many documents. There also the department has an inbuilt mechanism to not to ask certain documents which is not required. So here we can very well say the self-assessment audit is a very good mechanism for balancing your tax compliance and the complete verification by the department. So audit, it is defined in section 2. It says examination of records, returns, whether documents maintained, furnished by a registered person under this act or rules made thereunder to verify one, turnover declared. Why the turnover declared? You will definitely want to know whether you are registered under the GST or not. There we are having a definite transaction that is called a definition for the turnover, which means basis for your registration is your turnover across the India for a single PAN. So you want to check up whether the turnover declared by you is for the across India is correct or not, whether your registration based on the turnover is correct or not. That is the first. Second, taxes paid. Okay, I have taken a registration, then I have to check if my taxes are properly paid or not, my tax liability is come or not. Then the benefit given, I will be asking the departments, or I pay excess payment, I am entitled for this export benefit, the refund. So the definitely in refund there are two mechanisms. One is at the time of sanction they verify the certain documents uploaded in this, but physical documents are not verified at the time of your sanctioning of refund. So there is a requirement for the verification of refund related documents at the time of audit also. Because sometimes you take for example capital goods. Capital goods has been defined in the act. What the capital goods is? The goods, the value of which capitalized in the books of accounts. So whether this can be possible without verifying your books of accounts? Definitely not possible. Whether on account of that whether we can withhold these things? No. So you give some certifications or undertaking based on which your refund is not withheld. It is properly sanctioned by the officer. Then after that, there is a need arise to verify whether some of the inputs on which you claimed, whether you are capitalized in the books of accounts or not. So definitely refund is required. Then there is an entitlement, eligibility also there. You will be giving some information, it may not be correct because some of the information is vital required for the refund, you are aware, not captured or not uploaded. And finally, input tax credit. There is a very huge benefit given to the taxpayer. It is, if normal parlance, or we can say it is a general nomenclature, I can say it is as good as a currency given by the other than the government of the Reserve Bank of India, which means each and every person issuing a input tax invoice is nothing but a currency given by the person. So whether the department or anybody can just like that close his eyes, yes, you can take invoice. So that is not possible. Definitely even any organization, even in any organization for sanction of any amount, you will be giving multiple checks and balances. So input credit is also one of the very major area where the scrutiny and analysis require much more than anything else. Then comes your complete assess other compliance with reference to other legal provisions, which may be legal, which may be a procedural requirements. So that is very much required. So that's we are also want to verify whether these compliance are done properly or not. So we can say it is a turnover declarations, taxes paid, refund claim, input tax credit. So this is the full gambit of your GST. That is the entire legal provisions available on account of this. Then aims and objectives. So fine, again I'm repeating, but however this is repetition required to understand legal provisions. His intention to evaluate the credibility of the self-assessment. As I said earlier, the audit again and again we want to say it is a best mechanism for you to understand to move forward. You can also shortly the department is going to give the compliance rating also. This compliance rating also is nothing but a certification given like your ISO certification. So when your compliance rating also made public, then you will be going to get more financial, that means business will be going to grow large, because a tax compliant assessee will be very much liked by other vendors to transact with him, because other person may not be having any wrong notion about the business. He will be definitely believing your whether it is the words of the government certifies your compliance is correct. Then measurement of compliance, that is one. The reduction of non-compliance, that is the revenue realization. Because of the non-compliances, there may be a revenue loss. So that is very much required. Then prevention of non-compliance. So there also, by visiting this, you will be know something. Somebody is watching my activity. So somebody is watching my activity means we will be trying to reduce our unwanted activities. So that is the another aim is prevention of non-compliance in future. Then here, discouraging areas of non-compliances when we are giving the penal provisions, definitely to reduce, providing the inputs for the correctness. Yes, The audit findings are recorded and shared with the assessee. That is the scenario started from 2000, and now we are making it a very meaningful and also brought it into the act itself, so that providing the correcting or mechanism required by any industry, whether I can, how best I can modify my requirement, complaints required with reference to GST. Encouraging voluntary complaints. Definitely, if you go on these things, then you can do the more and more implying the voluntary complaints will there. In fact, your GST is nothing but your self-policing mechanism is built in so many legal provisions. In the availment of ITC, all these things you can find out also. So that makes you to encourage the voluntary compliances and any other goal deemed worth pursuing by the GST administration. They can analyze whether they want to reduce the tax liability. They can also modify the objective of the monitoring mechanism. They can also modify the monitoring mechanism to it suits the requirement of the assessees also. Then basic principle, so it is a systematic and comprehensive manner. Nothing but whether it is a GST audit or audit by the chartered accountants, audit by the cost accountants, definitely it is a very elaborate. In fact, I have, when conducting this, for this compilation of this PowerPoint presentation, I visited your Chartered Accountants Institute's materials and also Institute of Cost and Management Accounts portal also. I find a large number of informations are available as an education material for each and everybody. So that is the conducting the audit in a systematic and elaborate manner. Your GSTR 9 verification, I found a book for it consisting of nearly 400 pages. Please understand how difficult to understand, read and understand all these things. But it is definitely as a systematic approach. Emphasize on identified risk areas. Applying audit techniques. Definitely we are having audit techniques when there is a large number of information available. We will be using ABC analysis, 1, ratio analysis, 2, then risk parameters analysis. So these techniques used will identify to minimize the time conducting for the audit, verifying the huge numbers, sample study, or specific area, systematic audit we can conduct. So that is the aims and objectives. Then proper recording. You know very well, the audit is after 2000, we started writing the working papers, which are definitely available with the auditors are very much aware. The same is also incorporated in the GST and our excise. So working papers finds a very vital information for the auditor. What area he has verified, how he conducted the verification, whether it is sample or in-depth, all these required, that is called your proper recording. Then unexplored areas also he will be recording and educating the taxpayer. He may not be aware, so this is the other situations. Salient intimation to the audit process, this is our law says, reviewing the taxpayer data, when preparing the audit plan. The audit does not immediately come do that, verify first time and do that, then get an approval from the higher level official. So they cannot handle them haphazardly. I will do this area, I will do this area. No, it is not possible. After conducting a preliminary study about the organization and analyzing the data, the auditor has to put up a plan for the higher level official, stating that why he has selected this particular area, how he is going to conduct that particular verification, whether it is a sample study or it is an in-depth study, whether it is for a single month or it is a single year. So that means it will be planned as a very well, meticulously he will plan that, then it gets approval. And the preparation also thinks he has to do a lot of groundwork before embarking for the audit work. Then verification as per the audit plan. So he should not unnecessarily deviate from this. There may be occasion after the plan, it is possible. Once you visit, you can find this area can be also taken into account. So carrying out by and large as per the audit plan. And if any additional area required, there also the system expects or the legal provision expects that they have to get a concurrence from the higher level officials so as to process for the further verifications. So convey the preliminary findings and they have to give. Finally, the audit findings are not decided by the single auditor. So he has to culminate all these audit report and place it before the committee of the officers. That is called your monitoring committee. Whether I do not know whether this such type of committee is available for the state level audit, but central level audit, there is a MCM is available. Every month MCM is conducted under the chairmanship of the commissioner, and all the officers of the audit and as well the field formations are invited for the discussions of the each and every para. Then they study the sustainability of the para, admissions by the assessee. Then they will say either close the para, drop the para, or we can take it to the next level of the adjudication wherever required. There may be some gray area where it is not possible for the audit to come to the conclusion. Either it can be go to the judicial or it can go to the adjudication forum. So this is the another salient feature of this GST audit. And preparing a final report. Earlier we do not know whether audit report is given or not. Now definitely you are going to have your ADT 02. Shortly now also this is also coming online. And communicating to taxpayer the future course required as our contested paras also. Then rights and benefits, the taxpayer get the intimation, preliminary findings it's given in the form of spot memos, then conveyed the writings, his choice to make payment. If you want to voluntarily pay the amount, that is annexed we are having a given under the section 76, 73 and 74. If you are making the assessment agreed, pay the taxes, pay the interests, you can avoid penal provisions. So that is also intimate to the taxpayer to come to the conclusion whether to contest or not to contest. Then final findings include whether 30 days along with the rights and obligation. The entire application that is audit will be completed within a time frame of 3 to 6 months. Then cannot be extended unnecessarily without these steps involved. That is the most important area. Audit selection, there is a systematic selection based on the risk parameters inbuilt by the department. Our commissioners are told there are 48 risk parameters has been identified by the department, and based on that the auditors, that is a registered taxpayer, is selected for the audit, conducting audit. Then allotment of the selected RTP, who is selected, then he will be communicated to the regarding his, sir, we are going to communicate your commencement of our audit. Then before going to the commencement of it, take the information available from the department, do the pre-audit desk review by the departmental officers. Then after that, prepare approval plan for that, either before visit or after visit. Then you can also conduct the commencement of audit either at the office or at the premises of the buyer, that is a taxpayer. There they are going to check the in-depth checking of the records, documents, books. Definitely it is going to be a laborious work. Various speakers of the trade and industry told you are seeking many more documents, sir. Definitely all these documents are standardized documents. So depending upon the industry, then that can be made available. Also now the department has started issuing the different checklist for different type of industries. Now we got a 5 years, 76 years of experience in the audit and also in the GST implementation. Definitely it will take some more time to identify and systematic approach of calling documents, which is more necessary for the conducting of the audit. That will be taken shortly. So these are the steps. Then the commencement of the audit is the next step. Then comes communication to the discrepancies found. Then preparation of approval of the draft audit para of the MCM, the preparation of final audit report, then audit consequence. So this will be the step-by-step involved in selecting the audit from the completion to see whether you are comply with the provisions of GST ecosystem. Documents to be submitted. So we found in the section 71 and also in other things, these are the vital documents required. So documents prepared, maintained by the required person for the purpose of this already maintained. That is a rules and regulations are there. Then trial balance sheet, which says what is your that particular year, all financial transaction giving opening balance, closing balance, and the transactions which taken place during the period in credit and debit side. That is called your trial balance sheet, which is nothing but your raw data without for maintaining for the financial analysis. That is comes your balance sheet and the P&L. So a trial balance sheet, after that we are going to verify the statements, which is a consolidated one. Then wherever required cost audit report, income tax of this report. Then documents not required. Now recently the DG Directorate of Audit and also Directorate of Systems, they found that certain documents are not required. These documents are available with the department. So don't call for any soft copy or hard copy of these documents. So I have given a very few. Actually, it consisting of nearly 3-page report, which is shared by the DG audit of this thing for the presentation. There they say it is all GST returns need not be given. And similarly, GSTR outward supply with reference to B2B already available. And GSTR 2A, that is your purchase details are available with the department. Now, by virtue of our e-invoicing system is now coming into play. The department is having the granular data at the HSN code wise. You may not be reporting your HSN code wise for invoices in the GSTR one, but in the e-invoices, those who are having a more than 5 crores, they are providing the HSN code. Now the department is having a rich data on account of the HSN wise data for the purpose of conducting audit or for the verifying, complying the mechanism, or in the vital aspect, we can say to understand the economical growth of the country and to make a tax policy on account of the commodities, exempting or imposing further taxes. This is very much required. So now the department is having a, we can say it is a granular data at the HSN level at the invoices. That is very much required. So these informations are definitely not required by the department. Some of the information still we are not able to provide. So such informations are only we are asking, the department is asking in a short while, in a very short time of say another 1 year. Definitely the department may not require any further documents. All other documents available with the department, and the department's income information shared by the other department will be more than sufficient for you to monitor electronically from the office itself, even without visiting. So to that extent, the department is moving, and we are also moving technically, technologically. So we are, once we are filing the report from the house, now we are also making payment through credit cards, not necessarily through cash and everything. Now you can file return at your whims and fancies, not running to the office on the 12th hour of the return closing. So all these things. So there are 48 documents which is required with GSTR1 returns and your ITC 04 and the registration details. All these things are now available. So these documents are not required as per the latest letter. They call it as a whitelist required by whitelist identified by the DG systems and the DG audit for conducting audit. So the biggest area comes. What are the areas under the audit scanner? Absolutely, I cannot say. Under the roof of your organization, whichever is available to assess tax, whether it is a taxed or not, or it is exempted, all these are comes under the audit scanner. It is sufficient to say you are under the roof, whatever the activity you are doing with reference to financial activity on account of GST, that is a taxation, all these things are comes under the area under this scanner. However, for the ease of references, I have given very few areas. So most of the areas: registration, tax liability, payment of tax, availment of ITC, job work, refund, other miscellaneous. So we can see each and everything, not elaborately, to some specific points only. Registration persons means they have to find out whether the registration person, the place of business exists or not. You know very well, now there are fine tuning that also. So registration is required, factory, warehouse, godown, ISD. Whether you obtained registration for all these premises, yes, no. Additional premises within the state and additional premises outside the state. If it is a premises outside the state, separate registration is required. Additional premises within the state, then it has to be done in the amended or incorporated in your GST registration. Then registration for the specific registration for inputs distribution. So there it may be across the country also, you can take a single registration is possible for the input service distributor. Amendments required on account of point out by these things or on account of your activity you have done. For example, I find many of the directors, even though some of the directors retired, they have not added them. And even though some of the partnerships are resolved, that is resolved or added some new partnership, these informations are not added. Then very many things we can say it is Aadhaar authentication of the authorized person. I find there are still very many persons are not incorporating their Aadhaar identification. So those who are migrated earlier, still they are unable to understand the system has progressed along, they are lagging behind. Then we want to say whether display the name board go down, it is expected in certain provisions or law. So auditor want to know, yes, I am going into the premises, it is correct premises. That is indication. Now we are going with the geo tagging in the GST registration itself. Then tax liability, definitely you know very well, there is section forward charges, zero rated supply, exempted supply, non-GST supply, and tax liability shifted to the reverse charge mechanism. When the tax liability, what is my rate of tax and what is my classification? This is very much important. Then invoicing and documentation required for the indicating the tax liability. Then my consolidated statements for the maintenance of books and accounts for the receipt of goods and supply of goods. So all these things are required and all these things are under the scanner of audit. In forwards mechanism, we are having 4 types. We can say it is a taxable supply. When you take taxable supply, it is a B2B, B2C, B2G. That means all these things are domestic. Then we are having a specified supplies called a zero rated supply for supply to SGZ. There are conditions attached. Exempted supply, there are conditions attached. If it's a nil rated, it is right now it is not available because the tariff does not have any nil reply and it is exempted only. Non-taxable supply, we can say whichever comes under the schedule 3 of your supply, or non-GST supply now at present alcohol, liquors and petroleum products. And finally, one act of tolerance, we can say tolerating or obliging an act is a service or it is a taxable supply. There we may not be aware of these things are happening or not, but audit knows as per the legal provisions it is available. Then they will verify this aspect also. Then supplies, whether you are doing the supply to the e-commerce operator or you doing any supply to the central government agencies. These are the forward charge mechanism, the 92. In 93, these are the area, it is a trapping area for the ever since the department brought your RCM. It's not only in the central excise, that is in GST, even in the service tax regime, the department has found that many of the audit objections is on account of reverse charge mechanism. Because in the reverse charge mechanism, there are specified services. People may not understand these specified services I am entitled to pay. So this notification number 13 of 2017 with reference to services should be placed before your table always to find out whether I am liable for RCM or not. If you forget, at the later stage, there will be a huge liability. So goods transport agency, legal services, security services, rent-a-cab services, service provided by the director, service received by the government. These are some of the main area many of the people are unable to understand and paid the taxes. For example, I can give some examples. In the case of government services, what I find is DGFT for issuing of the license for the EPGC or for the purpose of advance license, they are charging an amount on the tax foregone. That is a duties and taxes foregone, and that is a charge you have to pay. Many of the people are getting these benefits, but unfortunately, people are not paying any amount. They say it is a government agency. But the government agency, the exemption is available when there is a sovereign function is involved. Which are not under the sovereign function, definitely there is a requirement for making the payment. And similarly, some of the people are asking for the bandobast for the factory at the time of troubles. Then there also the Department of Police or this thing, they are also asking you have to pay a certain amount. That amount also comes under the reverse charges from the specified government services. And finally, the legal services, you pay so many things for legal services other than taxation law. There you are totally forgot legal services come under the RCM. Security services from 1/1/2019, many people forgot if the security service is a property concern or some other thing and I am a registered this thing, I am liable to pay the taxes. So these are the RCM charges requirement. Then another trap area is specified services. You incur heavy on account of your import of services. What you say, you download so many softwares which is required for your business. You also get a consultant from the that is your foreign. So like goods imported, services also can be imported, but on that you are liable to pay the tax on the reverse charges. But unfortunately, you forget that, then you are coming back and you are saying you are liable to pay all these transaction cash, and there is a requirement of loss of working capital. If you had earlier paid, you could have immediately used the amount as a credit and you will be using it for your payment of taxes. If it is a delay, what happens? There is an interest is liability, penalty is liability, then also working capital loss for the immediate requirements. Then classification of goods and services. GST does not have, we are having a customs. Last time when I conducted the class, they asked, where can I find the customs tariff? I told my officials, please go and visit customs portal. There you can find customs tariff. That portal has updated the HSN code up to September 2023. That you can refer this HSN code only. Don't worry about the Other parameters given, what is the weight, what is the UKC, what is the rate of custom. Our botheration is how to classify a goods as per the customs. We found there are very many issues noticed during the misclassification after the GST. So GST earlier, the traders are not able to understand the classification, unlike their manufacturing counterpart. Now the traders are finding some of the difficulties because now the classification is not scheduled as per the VAT Act, but it is the Customs Act, which is universally, globally accepted classification. So now the traders has to modify, amend, understand our classification. Understanding of the classification requires a sea change. And for the classification of services, we are embracing annexer number 1, annexer issued under the notification number 11 of 2017. So here, my request to the audience, you please kindly go through these things, keep ready, and you don't worry about all these things. Don't purchase if you have fine. You can, all these informations are downloadable PDF file. If you are using chapter 84, just download chapter 84 chapter, keep it in your table, ask your accountant, keep it for any immediate reference of the classification of the goods for the purpose of GST. Rate of tax determines your liability, whether you are going to liable 5% or the exemption. That is required only one notification. But unfortunately, they underwent 55 amendments. And services, there is one notification, and exemption, we are having one notification. And most importantly, for RC, we are having one notification for the services. So what is required is very minimum requirement of law. Somebody tell you it is complex. But you find this complexity when you reduce everything, you are going to study only one notification in goods, one notification in services, or two notifications only. There, if you find and keep it in your records, then many of your problems are immediately solved. Zero rated supply, definitely this is required. Conditions documentation for the zero rated supply. Last week I was analyzing and I was verifying for a refund. I asked them to provide the BRC or EBRC. But that person unable to understand what is EBRC. Sir, I have given to bank, but you do not know how to download, how to keep this BRC, because your realization has to be done within 9 months from the date of exportation. So this vital document is required. So you have to understand what is the conditions required for the zero rated supply. Whether we are entitled for zero rated supply, that is also now mentioned, whether it is a zero rated supply on account of payment of IGST or without IGST. Then deemed export. The deemed export, it is read in conjunction with section 148, which says the goods manufactured in India. So many times traders feel that I can import, I can sell the goods for the another merchant who is exporting my imported goods. But unfortunately, what is may not be understanding is deemed export is for the goods manufactured in India, not for the goods imported in India and exported again. So these informations are very vital. Then condition for the merchant exporters. There also we can find, the audit also finds the scanner. Why? Merchant exporter, there are the conditions. It has to be exported within 3 months. Then you have to mention the name of the supplier in the shipping bill, his invoice number and the GST number. But unfortunately, you do not want to divulge this information. You forget, then finally land up with the problem for your supplier and you also. Then FEMA, you know right now what is the ED is doing. So now ED scanner is also enlarged because of our data sharing with very many agencies. Value of goods and rate of FC. At the time, there very many people are, even today they say, where you find the foreign currency, sir, exchange rate, sir, I will visit money control, I will take the value, sir. But unfortunately, your law expects it is as per the notification number section 44 and notification issued by the Customs Act. So all these things are vital areas for the audit to verify whether your compliance mechanisms. Then value of supply discount from 1975 till date. If any area is always disputed, is we can say valuation. Post-manufacturing expenses, post-manufacturing profit, post-manufacturing as post-sale discounts, always a bone of contention for each and everybody. For legal and everything, we are finding it very difficult. The industry expects I have to get some more money, but the government says you cannot take money, and we are having now anti-profiting mechanism also. So that protects the taxpayer. So these valuation rules are not for the any other person. It is for the ultimate taxpayer. So that this compliance is very much required. If you say this compliance is stressful, the stressful is not on account of the government is doing. The government doing on account of the taxpayer who parts with his money for the development of exchequer, that is your country as a whole. So why the audit is very cumbersome? It is not for any the benefit of the government or this, it is the benefit of the common man who paid the taxes. Valuation we study, input tax credit. There are only 3 sections, but you know how many litigation has been made. Our speakers are told, sir, we find it difficulty for section 16.4. We find a difficulty for section 16.2, which says whether it is a GST or 2A2B. Yes, all these things are very much required. Slightly cumbersome because these are the areas where the tax collected goes to the hands of the unscrupulous elements, which may be used to destroy your country economically in other ways also. So there the government cannot be very lenient. So that's why our input tax credit mechanisms are very tough. In fact, if you read the international law on account of the input tax mechanism, there are stringent punishments are on for the tax availed on account of the input tax credit. So here we are having only 3 areas. One is 16 section for the eligibility, 17 section which are the blocked credit or not able to do. Section 80 where certain goods are removed after the availment, there is a special provision. So these things also verified. And with reference to refund, what is verified? Eligibility of the refund conditions will be verified. Refund is rejected, what action taken? Whether the rejection is on account of the eligibility or otherwise. So that is possibility. Then recredit, whether the decredit is correct or recredit is wrong. Then manual electronic, we have not submitted many of the documents required, but still the department, in order to facilitate the easy requirement of working capital for the industry, has provided the relief, accepting on the face of it. Even now, the department says, as per the provision of section 54, 90%, to the extent of 90% of the refund can be claimed or given to this on provisional basis. But that has induced unnecessary complication in the system. So there are fake invoices, fake export claims, fake refund. So now, having understood this vulnerability of this section, the government is tightening it, and we are finding it a difficulty. But after some time, definitely these things will be slowly reduced, and honest taxpayer will be definitely very happy. Then job work, another area. So I am not having anything now. The job work, one is called your manufacturing in the job work, or you are sending goods. In all these things, there is a revenue leakage is possible. Goods can move under the guise of job work. So the government want to check whether this compliance mechanism is correctly followed. If you take ITC 04, you can find very many job workers, the principal manufacturers have not filed ITC 04. Even though earlier it was monthly, now it was made quarterly. I find my experience till today, ITC 04 is not properly understood. That's why now we are having issues started coming in reference to some of the areas called the e-waybill areas. And some person said purchase is for the particular product, but export product is entirely different product. Then when you verify these things, that your product is only A, purchased, but you are sending a goods X, what is happened? Then the person comes and says, I did the job work. Okay, what that job work you did? Then only comes so many stories. So definitely the job work is another area. When you send a job work, there is a possibilities of filterage on account of the goods and other materials. So that they want to check and balances for the job work. Therefore, we are having a section 143, which completely gives what is a requirement for the job work procedure. Then reconciliation. Definitely there are so many other areas. I'm very sorry I couldn't take each and everything. I have taken only very few areas where the concentration is more. Then reconciliation, definitely understand the assessment also we are doing. Now, if everything is perfectly all right, what could be the position? Definitely you will require a audit by visit. Now, somebody told that there is a new notice has been issued based on the IIT Hyderabad. Definitely I find that information. If I say as a person who understands the logic, there is a logic of each and every returns prescribed and the database management, I find definitely that software is much better. It will not permit any of the person to escape giving some raw data without understanding the basics. It will definitely expose your weakness in accounting, your reporting mechanism. So hereinafter, my request for everybody is, please understand how each and every tables of GSTR1, GSTR3B is interlinked. Then tables of 3B and GSTR2B is interlinked. GSTR1, GSTR3B, GSTR9 is interlinked. Then how e-way bill is interlinked with GSTR1. How e-invoice is interlinked with GSTR1. Then e-way bill purchase is linked with GSTR2A. Then TCS, TDS interlinked with GSTR1. And finally, reconciliation between the 9C and your 9. How your income tax is reconciled with other documents. So these reconciliation, if you are doing one reconciliation, your basic document correct. Now, in order to facilitate, the system has given you the auto population. So before accepting the auto population, please apply your mind also whether this auto population is my expected level. It is I properly given the initial data correctly or not. If you are not giving the initial data correctly, then definitely you will find a mismatch between the reconciliation, and you are going to explain a lot of notices for that explanations. So reconciliation is a very many. Other part, the window dressing area we can call. So earlier we can do any type of window dressing at the time of closing my financial activities. But now, because the scope of supply is enlarged, each and every income reported may find a place in the GST, thereby you are liable to pay taxes. So one industry I find they mention of 48 lakhs as the other income. When you verified this income, what 45, they are not unable to explain. This is the reason. When you are unable to provide any reason, the department will say there is an activity, there is a financial, it comes, then it comes to as a taxable supply. It is you who have to prove. It does not come under the GST by giving some other proof. But unfortunately, at the time of verification, we are not find any able to get the proof. So these are the some areas before completing. Definitely there is a need for doing corrective mechanism at the end of the financial year before reporting for the any, either it for the stakeholders like banks or your financial institutions or your CBIC or your Companies Act or income tax. Once you are doing for some of the activities required for that, adjustment entries are required. My request, please consider whether you are having any GST liability on account of these adjustments. You are making it for the some other law. We find the department finds and audit find very many times that has happened. Interest received, foreign exchange fluctuation, commissions received. These are some areas. Sale of scrap. The sale of scrap, almost everybody we can have the. That is definitely some of my officers told why you people are very happy with the sale of scrap. That is the only area we can find immediately an audit objection. Then discount received, definitely to that extent there may not be any debate on account of the ITC available. And goods sent, sometimes you will be having reporting some accident or theft, but that does not come into play anywhere. But these can be found only in your financial accounting. So these are the areas which are under the scanner of audit also. Director's report. Does it anywhere relate to audit? Absolutely. For example, I will say, I visited one of the areas in audit conducted when I was in the department. There the direct report says our company stood as a guarantor for a sister concern. Fine. That indicates there is a transaction available with the guarantor this, then what was the guarantor, what has happened, and finally we found it. For standing as a guarantor, this company has given a huge charges to the banking institution and availed the ITC credit. Whether we can say this ITC credit is eligible for this person? Definitely not, because it should as a guarantor, but the benefit is enjoyed by some other concern. So definitely that auditor report. And another audit report says we are happy to announce in the centralized era, we have commissioned a mystery in a state of art by our own production team. I congratulate the team. Does it audit para? Yes, earlier it was a captive consumption. So these things are also fine to be minute areas, but definitely audit looks into this area. So here, auditor financial statements, auditor's reports. Your statutory auditor may be passing certain strictures against the company, which you may not be like, but unfortunately statutory auditor, his role is to point out the defect also. That defect also may be useful for the auditors, departmental auditors, to see whether where there is a compliance has been infringed on account of GST Act or not. Details submitted to the banks. So you will submit details, go on saying, but unfortunately there might be any transaction here. So definitely that will be also come to the scanner of audit. So we cannot say this is the only area, because the industry is complex. The social, the economical activity is very complex. When these activities are very complex, how can we expect that GST audit can be very simple? So the reason, definitely the GST auditor and the industry is doing a very complex economical activity at the present scenario. So definitely we can say the system will be complex. Thanks for the invention of your information technology, our artificial intelligence. All these informations either earlier not available, now available to the very many public and also for the government agencies to monitor, to verify the compliance is correct or not. So soft tax form, there are, you know very well, India is the software capital. But if you check up with the soft tax form, which is a made mandatory, we will find definitely very minimum people are filing through the soft tax. Other people are those who are registered with a STP, or some people who are definitely aware of soft tax or asking for the soft tax. The soft tax is given by the STPA, Software Technology Park of India, and for the members they are giving regularly. For non-members on a payment you can get it, that is more valid than your FIRC. But we still believe in the FIRC, but getting a soft tax is difficult. But the department believes soft tax is more authentic than your FIRC. Now I found there are banking sections also regulations. If EBRC earlier you have to submit the document, now you have to upload the documents online to get your FIRC. Not going to the bank is not required. So there, this is also another thing we find is in very many areas is banking. You give one ID code in the shipping bill and you realize the amount in different bank. That is not possible. But unfortunately, you have some problem with the bank. You will be shifting the bank possible, but it is not the current scenario. Very difficult to switch over one bank to another bank. So please, your compliances with other agency also affects your compliances with the GST. So please take care of that. That's why this area also definitely comes under the scanner of audit. Don't expect audit cannot visit. Audit will be, if it is a production scenario, starting from the raw material to the end where the waste is disposed, till each and every area comes under the audit, because they are very much bothered for the revenue as well as the economic of the current your country. The fiscal policies and the monetary policies are very much required based on the compliances you have done. So that's why the audit we had say, I am not saying it is a detective agency, but rather than it is a fact finding and a hand holding. So hand hold this auditor so that you will be beneficial. The country is also beneficial. Then audit findings, fine, I have done my audit correctly. And okay, what the audit you can expect from auditors. So here, frequent notice, I told non-payment of short payment, wrong classification, short and excess availment of ITC, improper classifications, tax not paid on advances in many cases, and reverse charge mechanism. Earlier you can have advances in that, now you have to maintain and you are liable to pay. All these things are required for the compliance by the audit. Audit report adjudication. After the audit completion, you are given a chance to accept or deny the audit. So you are not asked to definitely pay the tax. You can accept or deny based on the information you are having, the level of your legal understanding on account of the particular legal provisions. So to avoid unnecessary dispute, you can settle the issue once the audit is closed. So here audit process completion comes. ADT 1, there is intimation of audit. ADT 2, there is nothing but intimation about the audit finding. If you are accepting, you are making payment through DRG 03, then audit finding is accepted and closed. You will be giving one letter, I accepted, I paid, please waive the penalty as per the provisions of section 73 and 74. Thank God, my litigations are over. I do not have any information in your director's report or auditor's report. There is a liability has been created by the audit that as per the perception of the company, it is legally winnable during next year. But unfortunately, that mark will be there. and that will be scrutinized by the banking financial institutions when you are required for the loan purpose. When you want to amalgamate your unit for some other merger and acquisition, there this particular area will be looked into that. So whenever there is a legal requirements, even though disclosed that will reduce your rating. So if there is no necessity for any litigation, better close it and move forward. The next process, I am not agreeing with the audit. The same scenario, the audit report 01 is there, 02 is there, reply to the audit ADT 02, audit findings not accepted, DR 01 notice under section 73-74, adjudication process commences, it culminates into go up to the Supreme Court. So this is your next process possible. So this is your sections, we can say 73-74. This provisions you to accept and close the issue. So this is the letter you have to submit to the audit at the time of finalization if you are agreeing with that. It is not prescribed by this, but prescribed by the audit manual. Then you can say, on account of consequent to this audit, I accept, I paid this amount by so and so challan or AR number and DR03. We request that the above issue may please be treated as closed. So this letter is sufficient because before making payment, for a good practice, for each and audit you accepting, generate a GST 03 indicating the audit para, attach the working sheet, attach the audit findings, then that will be easier for the closer of GST 03. And you may also not run to pillar to post to explain why you have paid this amount under GST 03. So please, after completing the audit, if you are ready to pay this amount, submit this letter voluntarily to avoid penal provisions or avoid unnecessary other legal actions by the department. Then some useful tips for the taxpayer to handhold the audit. Prepare a profile of your organization because you know very well by now what is the expectation of audit. When the expectation of the audit, let us give something for the auditor. He need not verify each and everything. He need not ask you to each and every information at this table. Provide a complete profile about your organization, even who is the name, who is authorized signatory, goods and services you are providing, the classification of goods, what is the services, their HSN code number, what is the rate of tax you are adopting, from when you are adopting that is your rate of tax. Then you say whether you are availing any exemptions or not. Then you define about your type of supply, whether you are supplying for the B2C, B2C or B2G, or you can say export. If we give this information, the audit can restrict this thing within these parameters. Otherwise, you will be giving the room for audit to verify each and everything necessarily or unnecessarily. Then please understand the legal provisions. Definitely here, the role of taxpayer services is amazing. If you find for the past 5 years, how many brochures they have brought out, e-brochures, and how many training sessions they conducted, will definitely say the knowledge has been imparted for all the associates on account of the clear understanding of GST law. Make a list of legal provision which is required for your organization. Keep it ready always. Wherever amendment you can modify. Make a list of documents necessary for each type of return. Keep your book with supporting documents. Because all your documents are required to be kept at least for 78 months. In the case of from the date of filing your annual return, and if it's a litigation, till the litigation is over. If it is suppression of act, definitely more years are required. So here, keep your records. We said, sir, COVID happened. Yes, so many things happen, but does not prevent you to keep your record because you are collected the taxes from the common person. You avail input tax credit, which is paid by the common person for your industry. So definitely the government of India doing this scrutiny or monitoring on behalf of the people of India. So definitely they are doing it for that, but not purpose. It is for the purpose of the by and large for me and you also. So here it is our helpness, which is help is required for the department so that the litigations can be reduced. The time taken to complete behind the audit can also be. Keep a change on the input tax compliance. So far we have conducted 52 mechanism GST Council and the GST with that council that our DGTS has also conducted not less than 10 classes on account of the amendment after the 52 Council, and industry is also conducting and Chamber of Commerce is conducting and your chartered accounting institutions and also CMA also conducting. So keep an eye on the changes taking place. That is very much important. Then returns. So list out all the necessary forms and returns. What is the periodicity? Submit your returns timely so that avoid unnecessary complication of technical glitches at the end of the day. And also payment unnecessarily which is required for your other purpose. Then compare for all your purpose where there is a requirement of payable, please collect. Please compare it. Compare GSTR for the GSTR to be monthly. Now it is a, if you are not making monthly, immediately on next day you will be going to receive a notice under GRC 01C and GRC 1B. There are two notices shortly coming. Then finally, periodically review your profile. Whenever changes makes, you try to modify your changes, classification, rate of tax and supply. So this will be a hand holding, or you can voluntarily give your information to the audit. Thereby you are reducing the time taken for the completion of audit. So then online. So now you have found what is the audit conducted, legal provision says, act says. Yes, these are also incorporated in the online. Wherever possible, I find these informations are available with reference to state departments. Central it is yet to implement. I think they are on the job. So here GST portal provisions, you can find online audit communications. Many informations goes to the GST, that is your SMS or GST Gmail, which you may not be aware. The authorized person may not be aware, but it goes to the authorized person he has given. If it is a top level management, please ensure you receive this information, communication to you daily basis or monthly basis. If you are still depending upon the lower officials of your department or the consultant who is handling your this thing, every chance you will be missing certain vital information required by you on tax compliances. See, online audit information you find one of the assessee has been given, ADT 01 has been given. How many years? For each and every year they are given a ADT 01. Then where they found a discrepancy, they are given a ADT 0, section 1014, ADT 0 notice. That is a notice for the discrepancy has been communicated. Then you can find after the complication, they say issued a notice for the discrepancy. Then since they are not accepted, they are issued so-called notice for the DRC 01 ISO conducted. So there is a provision for online reply, online payment, and also online acknowledgement of your payment by DRC 04 and other requests also you can make through online. Then ADT 01, this is acknowledgement PDF file given by the online information, whereas we have conducted this, so these things are available. Then they say audit report says notice for seeking the clarification. This is the financial year, this is the verification, the quantification of amount, how it is conducted. So discrepancy also communicated. Then ADT 02, they consolidated the report and this is the final report. So 65 under 65(9) section it is being issued, under rule 1015 it is being issued. Then other thing is a special audit. It is not, I am not going for in depth. The special audit is conducted where the department feels it is necessary. It has to be conducted by a CA and a cost accountant, that is done by the special audit. And there is a specific provisions for under section 66 and also specific procedural requirement under rules. Then finally CAG audit. Earlier we had a CGAG audit that is called your SERA. Now fortunately for this we are not having the SERA audit listing these things, but they are doing a thematic audit at the premises of the government departments. So now we are not having any CAG audit. So thank you. These some of the references for educational materials being used by me in this particular PowerPoint are e-flyers of the Directorate of Taxpayer Services latest November 23 audit in GST regime. Then audit path to compliance. There is a both are very simple 4-page but beautiful, and you can contain a hell of a lot of information. Then model audit India manual available in CBIC website. It will categorically reveal how the audit is taking place in each and every stage, and the transparency is now more. Then Karnataka audit manual, I find it also contained a very rich knowledge on account of this audit information. And I find the ICMA, that is a chartered accountant there, I found a lot of information on account of PDF files, educational materials. Absolutely, it is a wealth. Similarly, in the case of ICA, that is called your Institute of Cost Accounting. The ICMA is for the purpose of this Indian income tax, but cost account is much more detailed than these things. We can say it is analyzing how the cost for each and everything. So absolutely, I find these things amazing informations are available in all these portals. Here, this is the your Directorate of Taxpayer Service, which is giving about the audit. So audit in GST regime, it is a very simple profile. There is your e-flower. Definitely, I find a very good information, wealth, knowledge. Then there is a path. This also you can find and you can upload. Now GST has also started the WhatsApp channel for the educating the general taxpayers and public. You can subscribe. You will be getting all the information in your mobile immediately if it is implemented or intimated. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. I do not know the time constraint. The subject is very vast, and definitely in a single sitting of 1 hour, 1.5 hours, we cannot say each and everything. I might have omitted certain areas which may be vital in your things, but it may be also time constraints. So extremely sorry for that. Otherwise, thank you very much for giving a very good opportunity by the DGTS once again to share my knowledge in particularly this audit. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Let me take 5 minutes break up to get some water, and I will join you after the question session. Yes, thank you very much, Ebenezer, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir, for your detailed presentation, and I am sure that majority of the doubts in the minds of our audience were cleared with the presentation. Now we will move on to the question and answer session. To proceed with question and answer session, along with our faculty, Sri Venkateswaran, Assistant Commissioner Retired, we have also invited Sri Sabapathy N. Hegde, IRS, Assistant Commissioner, Audit 1 Commissioner, CGST, Bengaluru.
Sir, 1 second, give me 5 minutes. I will take water and come back. Just
Yes,
5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
We thank you for your gracious presence on this occasion. Now let us look at the questions in the chat box. Sir, one question in 4:27 p.m. Prem Reddy, is there any training program for tax professionals from DG Taxpayer Services? So we are not conducting any training program for taxpayer professionals. However, we are conducting webinars every month in India. Or there are 6 DGTS units are there across India. Every DGTS we are conducting webinar. So you can follow CBIC WhatsApp channel. There you can find what are the programs we are doing webinar. You can see from that. Kindly follow our CBIC WhatsApp channel. There you can get some idea about it. But we are not conducting any training program for our professionals. Sir, Hegde sir, one Subramania to everyone that 431. What are the parameters to issue SCN under section 74 instead of section 73? Typically, most of the audit notices under section 74, even for 2A versus 2B, 3B issues.
Good evening. Thanks for involving me, Ebenezer, sir.
Yes.
To this question, like audit, once the process is over, if the dispute persists, we have to raise the demand either on section 73 and 74, depending upon the existence of non-declaration or suppression of facts or fraud.
Yes.
Now, in the cases, I would request the persons to please read a specific definition of suppression provided in section 74 as clarificatory. This one, there it is, if a person has not declared what ought to have been declared by them as a taxpayer, that amounts to suppression. That's a very simplistic definition of suppression, because most of the taxpayers here generally, they don't declare many things in the returns actually submitted. If they have not declared the details in the return, that simplistically amount to suppression. Hence, the demand under section 74 will be, invoked. So I don't think this is a dichotomy as of now. And wherever there is a clear, simple procedural violation or an accepted payment is already done by the assessees before the audit has actually identified those things. And those things are very, very considerately considered under Section 73.
Yes, sir. Sir, again, Subramania, 4:38 p.m. Tally backup is sought to be given for carrying out audit under Section 65. Is it covered within the provisions to seek access to accounting software?
Yes. For the auditors or any officers who are visiting, they should be having access to all sorts of accounts maintained by the assessee, and what he is required to maintain as per this existing act or any other act mandated by us. Okay, but this is actually specifically mentioned in the Section 71. Please go through that one. There, access to the premises also says that the officers will have access to all sorts of the documents maintained, including anything maintained electronically. So actually, I request all the persons who are attending here to make it available to the officers who are visiting, and to make it the job easier. And many times, officers find it convenient to access it from the office and complete the audit. This is in line with actually, reducing the interface with the assessees and actually not disturbing the assessees' regular business. So it is in the interest of the assessees to share all those details with the auditors so that the matter is actually eased.
Yes, sir. Correct. You are right. Sir, again, one same Subramania only. Initial years ITC on credit notes are reversed and net ITC is taken. Since a specific disclosure is not made in 3B to the tune of reversal, audits are concluded demanding such amounts again.
Yeah.
It is important to note what goes into credit ledger is only net amount post reversal in 3B.
No, here the point is valid, and there are many issues being raised on this particular point. However, I would like to draw the attention of the assessees and the listeners here that there is a change in tax regime ever since the GST regime has been kicked in. And please appreciate the fact that unlike the earlier service tax or central excise regimes, where we had actually allowed the assessees to maintain separate credit accounts, the credit and debit this ones are visible there, which was to be filed with the department. In this case, in GST regime, you can actually take a credit or utilize the credit only through by filing the returns. Please understand this one. You may have your private record. We are not actually disputing that is whether a credit is taken or not. It is actually left to you. This is your self-assessment. Unless you declare your willingness to take the credit and utilize for the payment of tax, this is not taken at all. As per law, unless you have taken a credit in the return and declared it, you could not have paid any duty at all. And please comply with this one. This can be a misconception because you are all used to the earlier regime. Please forget those and adjust to the new regime. See, if you have not declared in the GSTR 3B as credit taken and you have not paid any tax on that one, that should be clear to all the.
Sir, I will supplement, sir. Regarding this credit note, what is happening? What is the mechanism done is the credit note which is reflecting the books of account should be equivalent to the credit note uploaded. What the problem find that is audit is locating.
Sir, I just want to do this question was regarding checking the credit, whether any person can actually take the net credit required or he needs to take the credit in the return and then show the return, actually reversal. That was the question, sir. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Please.
Yes, sir. ITC, Subramania, sir. ITC on credit notes instead of reversing are added to output in line with Section 42, not corrected in the GSTR 9. Reversal is sought again.
I think sir had started the reply that one.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, please carry on, sir. I think Venkateswaran sir had actually started this.
Yeah, sir, 441, Subramania.
Yes, sir. Some people, what they did earlier is, as per the provisions of section 40, rule 42, they were taken instead of this as an input, that is, they taken it as a liability.
Yes.
But that has to be explained to the auditor or at the adjudicating officer. This mechanism was done where during the period 2017-18, the adjudication officer and audit will going to consider and they are going to close this issue.
Yes.
So this is an area for the monitoring the mechanism. So it does not say it is going to be create a liability.
Yes.
You can explain to the auditor, this has happened because I did this.
Yes.
So I found many of the officers accepted and dropped that issue also.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, if upload is done of SCN under section 73 post 39/2023, is it valid service? Is it time bar? Few instances, if SCN is not seen online on 1/10/2023, but seen later on. How to have a trial of a document upload into GST portal?
This is this is about the DRC01s uploading this. Yeah, the department accepts that there was some glitch in the system, but I must clarify with the authority at my command that at every case, based on the departmental instructions, the department has invariably ensured that the physical copy of the notices are actually dispatched and actually conveyed to the taxpayer. There can be operations, but since the timeline have been extended now, and the department is doing everything to upload the DRC01s. If there are any specific operations, this can be brought to the notice of the concerned officers. It can be rectified. Thank you.
Yes, sir. One, Mr. Bhavnesh, if a taxpayer has one RCM services and another forward charges services, can he opt for both forward and reverse charge mechanism for those services independently?
Sir, come again, sir.
Not possible, sir. Not possible. Not
Yes.
possible. Because RCM are only certain specified services.
Yeah.
In this certain specified services, as per number 13 of 2017,
Yeah.
the tax liability is cost on the person, then he has to go for that. Only in the case of this RCM and FCM is possible. In the recent GTS services, they have given RCM and FCM possible, provided it has to be opted for the full year. And if it is opted for forward mechanism, he has to continue for the forward mechanism. He cannot go back for the RCM for the same financial year. So law does not permit, you can, or particular type of supply, I can go for RCM as well as FCM. That is not possible,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, one Mr. S. Murugesan, discount received towards inward supplies as incentive. What will be the impact on liability or ITC?
Which question, sir?
Sir, 4:59 p.m. Yes,
4:15.
Murugesan, yeah. Discount received towards inward supplies as incentive. What will be the impact on liability?
So this discounts or any other incentives received has to be read as a valuation matter. Please, I think I saw one more question there regarding the.
Yeah.
So with reference to this question, the department has already issued a certain clarification in 2019 itself. You can refer March 2019 circular and July 2019 circular. They have categorically given what is the scenario. They told you can avail ITC credit on that. And also there is no need to pay any tax on the incentives received. That has been clearly mentioned in the circular issued during 2019 March, and subsequently circular was issued during July 2019. So better you can read that circular, that will be the eye opener for that. If the conditions mentioned in wherein is not fulfilled and it amounts to any payment of taxes, the clear circular also says then there is a liability. But if it's a commercial credit note, there is no necessity for reversal of ITC credit. That is the crux of that particular circular.
No, sir, just I want to add a few things like here I want to invite the attention of the trade, particularly that please read, and most of these issues have come up because of the credit note, debit note issues. Okay, incentives are provided, but I would specifically invite the attention of the trade towards the section 15(3)(b), where actually you have to decide every actually transaction. Actually, in the background of section 15, the reading 34 alone will lead you elsewhere. Please read it with the valuation part of it, where it very clearly says, more or less, if I can make it a generic comment, that if a particular incentive can be traced back to the original supply, then it will have a tax impact either by a forward charge or by actually reversal of credit. Be very clear on those things. I just wanted to aware, it is not actually exclusive comment. I am just actually inviting your attention to section 15 also.
Yes, sir. Sir, some questions are there that to know what do we need to do if the department not consider the submission and issued 82. Already sir has explained in his presentation. After issuing 82, that if they are not accepting means then our 73 or 74 that notices will be issued.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir has very detailed presentation.
Detailedly explained, yes, sir.
I don't think there need to be any repetition of that.
Sir, one Mr. Amrutin, 5:21 p.m. Whether state GST authorities can conduct audit of taxpayers under central jurisdiction. In some cases, ADT1 are issued by both state and central authorities.
So these are the questions of administrative mechanisms worked out between the state and the center. And if there is any specific, since generally there is no overlapping of such events, but if by mistake something has happened, you can actually flag it to the jurisdictional authorities. It will be resolved. Thank you.
Sir, one Mr. Rajesh, 523. After completion of audit by central, whether state can conduct audit for the same period?
No, it cannot be.
It cannot
because be. Audit per se will be for both either one of us will be doing. Yes, however, my one will be cautioned if it is an investigation part of it.
Yes.
Anti-evasion work can be cross. It can be done irrespective of the registration with the center or state. We have the cross empowerment on that one. So please find this one. Many times it will be confusing whether it is an audit or actually investigation. Please check up that one. It is quite possible that after the audit there can be an investigation, or after the investigation there can be an audit. Please check that.
Yes, sir. One Mr. Suvakumar, 5:26 p.m. For issue of BRC 01, whether total of CGST and IGST is to be reckoned or subject to monetary limits of CGST and then IGST is to be taken for deciding the SCN issuing authority. 5:26 p.m. Mr. Sivakumar.
Yeah, so the total of stages to be reckoned. This is for if you are asking about to be taken deciding the SCN issuing authority. This is the total tax payability. Total tax amount.
Yes, sir. Amrutin, what do we need if the taxpayer will not, sir, again and again is asking after ADT 1 and 3 reminders. Amrutin Patel, 5:32 p.m. What we need to do if taxpayer will not comply and give documents record after issue? So I think is from our department.
I think this is an officer's query. Officers can actually approach the departmental forum to resolve these issues, because this will be an internal mechanism.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One Mr. Vineet, regarding RCM, a transaction reflected in our GSTR 2B, but we are not avail any services from the party. Then how is our tax liability on such transaction? 533, sir.
This can be resolved through approaching the appropriate authority, because if it is reflected naturally, the officers will actually think that there is a liability. However, if you have not received anything, it is for you to clarify the issues, and the concerned jurisdictional officer should be able to resolve it.
So sometimes wrongly, some of the assets I also find unnecessarily ticked the reverse charge mechanism. Whether the services and goods may not come under RCM, but he do not understand what is RCM, we ticked that. So but that will be reflected in your 2B as you are liable to pay RCM. you can intimate to the that is at the time of so-called notice that particular service is received on particular service which does not come under the RCM. That person has wrongly mentioned, so there is no RCM liability, and all these things are getting resolved. Only thing you have to prove the particular service is not a RCM service as per the invoices received or services provided to me. That is the only minimum requirement. Then the issue is totally resolved.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, thank you, sir. Due to time constraint, now we'll close the session now. So any further questions, I will send a mail. I will put a mail in the chat box. Let them ask the question in the mail. We will give a reply after that. Sir, sir, thank you, sir, Hegde sir, and our.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thanks, everyone, sir. It was a nice presentation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Everyone who participated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I hope all your doubts have been clear. Now, before we end this program, it is time to give vote of thanks. I request Sri Subramania BL, Chairman, Indirect Tax Committee, KSEAA, Karnataka, to kindly propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Mr. Subramania.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I take this privilege on behalf of the entire crowd, the DGTS, all the trade bodies, Karnataka State CA Association, for whom I am representing, to give this vote of thanks. I have to certainly place on record the efforts of the DGTS team, starting from Manohar sir and all of them who have taken a lot of efforts to have this program initiated, conducted. There have been persistent follow-ups and calls so that the audience get the required benefit out of it. And it is a session which was certainly helpful for all of us. So I would like to thank Sri Manoj Kumar Arora sir, Chief Commissioner, Tirunelveli Zone, Sri Rupam Kumar sir, Principal Chief Commissioner of CGST, Bengaluru Zone, Gopal Krishnan, Sri Gopal Krishnan sir, Chairman FICCI, Sri Prakash Iyer, Managing Committee Member CCI, Krishna Kumar, Sri Krishna Kumar, Taxation Committee Kochi, TJ Girish, President TDCI Tumkur, Ananteshvi Prabhu, President KCCI Mangaluru, and not to miss the marathon session, I have to say, by our speaker B. Venkateshwaran sir. It was a really engrossing session for all of us. I'm sure all of us would have taken the required inputs from this session, and it will certainly help the assessee, equip the assessee and professionals to better address the audit with a lot of information which was shared. And the expert panel, which was Sabapati and Hegde sir. So thank you for joining. And we hope the benefit of the programs with which the DGTS has intended is reaped, and we look forward for more such sessions and active participation as well. Thank you. Over to you, Ebenezer sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, with the permission of the chair, I declare the session is closed. I will give the mail ID in the chat box. If anyone wants presentation, the PPT, please send a mail to us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.